All right, well, we have a special interview now here on Soccer Wise as we head into the first round of the playoffs. Some big games for a lot of teams, and maybe no team more excited about the opportunity to be a home field squad and enter this playoff run than Charlotte FC. And we have the man in charge, the chief soccer officer, the general manager, Zoran Krneta, for the first time ever on this show. Zoran, thanks for joining us.
David, Tom, thank you for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
So give us, for starters, the feeling on the ground. Charlotte's about to be the home field team for their first playoff series as that, higher seeded squad. What is the feeling in the market right now? What has the vibe been like all week?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, the city is bouncing and it's celebrating. And to be honest, it's obviously the Charlotte had a limited success in the previous years with all the team that we had in Major League. So this means a lot for the city, for the North Carolina, South Carolina, and obviously for ourselves, boys and Dean Smith and front office and performance staff, medical, everybody really. So it's something that we set at the beginning of the season to achieve, and we got it.
It's not your first ever playoff game, though, because of the formats of the playoffs. I'm curious your thoughts, big picture, on this best of three opening round, and this is the way it's set up.
I just don't know. I still kind of trying to get used to it. It's not exactly a something that I would necessarily say that works for me personally, but I do understand the desire for everybody to get a home crowd and a home game in playoff. So that from that perspective, I understand, but I think it might be a little bit too much in too many games, potentially. I mean, we already played kind of the argument. New York City twice, and then we potentially playing it another potentially 3 times. I mean, it's turning into the, like who wants to watch the more?
Maybe there will be a best of 5 in the future. I don't know. We'll see, though. So, yeah, you guys will have a great crowd, no matter what, and again, finishing where you did. It's a very exciting time, and that was all fueled by that winning streak over the summer. What was that like for you during that period with the team where everything kind of clicked? Was there any superstitions on your end? Were you eating the same thing or doing the same routines, trying to make sure everything stayed the same?
Yeah, we done a little bit of voodoo kind of stuff, especially around the defense and the goalkeeper and the left back and a few other things, the positions in the team. I just think we had a very good start. First 9 games, we were top of the East. Then we had a slump. It happens. This is a very long, very difficult, very, very demanding league. That there is no to describe this league any other way. And any team would have potentially a little bit wiggle. Some bigger, some smaller. Even Inter Miami had a few issues and few results that didn't go their way and complaints. And so I think it's normal. I think what affected us, this kind of extended playing away streak that didn't kind of sit well with the players. Players got tired, and we played under really huge heat and very difficult conditions and traveling and waking up and starting again. And then once you lose 1 or 2 or 3, then it's difficult to kind of bounce back and win the 4th or 5th. So credit to the boys that after the very difficult period, they actually managed to bounce back and start winning. They kind of literally turn around. One woke up one morning and says, "Okay, from now on, we're not going to lose any more games."
It's not a bad mindset to have in a season, and of course, it led to the largest win streak in history. But what you kind of just went through, those are a lot of the, I don't want to use buzzwords because they're true, of when people talk about why is it hard to play in Major League Soccer, what makes it different? It is the weather, the travel, the conditions, the range of fields. Now that you've been around as long as you have, do you have different ideas about who can adapt to this league or what you're looking for when you're trying to figure out who is someone that can fit in Major League Soccer?
Absolutely. I mean, I think everybody coming from Europe or the rest of the world would automatically somehow underestimate the league. And it takes some time to figure out how difficult the league is, how difficult are the grounds, the grass, turf, the climate, the altitude, the different time zones, the planes, trains, automobiles, everything is involved. It's a really specific, unique league. I love it now, obviously, and it's league that I've been involved and so say swimming in the league for the past 5 years. But it's a very demanding, very challenging league for all the players. If you look at all the players we brought them, let's start with our players, and I can name other team players, big DPs, big name players coming from top leagues in the world, big superstars, and they having a period of adaptation, and some of them never adapt. And we have when Ashley Westwood came with 287 starts in Premier League, it took him 6 months before he became to resemble the Ashley Westwood that we hope to get. So it's nothing unusual. This league takes time.
No, it's super interesting, and like how many different players, like John Thornton once said, like if you work for Manchester City or Liverpool or Real Madrid, there are 30 players in the world that you could sign that would make your team better. In MLS, theoretically, it's a much wider number, but then to your point, Zoran, like there's a lot of drawbacks or potential pitfalls that aren't quite the same when you're shopping at the top of the market.
Yeah, but then also you're shopping top of the market. For injuries, suddenly you replacing those 4 very, very important players with 4 players who are either college drafts or the youth or the academy players, and it's then you have to get them into the team and get them into the mold of how the first team plays, and they don't have enough minutes, and suddenly you have to go and play on Colorado at night 8 in the evening and on a 5,000. Altitude and you go out of the changing room and they put all these little signs smartly. You are sick. You don't feel well. Oh, you should go and sleep. You should go to bed. Okay. So you put a young player, you put young inexperienced player, and you think, okay, maybe I should do that. So there goes your first 20 minutes of the game. It's like it's an interesting league. I'm telling you, it's the longer I'm in this league, the more I have time and respect for the league.
Zoran, you guys are going to need to get your best minds to figure out what you guys can write in the tunnels leading out to the pitch of the Bank of America. What the food poisoning, just random things to try to get in people's head, like Colorado has for the altitude. That's one of the funniest things about this.
You say, look, did you bring your swimming coat, the shorts? Did you bring your sunglasses? Do you
sunscreen?
Don't have too much fun. Too many jello shots. Too many fun places to hang out. So another interesting aspect, obviously, is the European leagues for right now are opposite of what is MLS. So in the summer, you guys are trying to build an ad for the stretch run for the playoffs to win trophies. And in Europe, they're starting their season, and that's when they're most active with signing players. So you had to deal with Ajamang, a deal that ended up with him at Derby County immediately, and Malanda, who's going to go to Middlesbrough, but not going to happen until the winter. So just take me through the negotiations there and how difficult it was to try to balance what's right for, I guess, the player and for the financial side of things, but also like, hey, there's a point here where we just really care about winning a trophy this year more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be honest, the only player that was always available potentially for the right price and right moment and right club and right league was Ajamang. And we said to Patrick, look, we want to sign you a new contract, but we won't stop you leaving. So we turned down the offers in January because we didn't have a ready replacement. And once we seen enough of Idan Toklumati through the preseason and beginning of the season, then we knew that we have a ready replacement. And there was only then, after that, there was only the best price, the best deal for the club and for the player, of course. And I'm trying to kind of set up the standard for us, for our club, that our players go to the top leagues or very good leagues. And that's, I think, very important, building the brand of the club, where your players going, where they end up, and how much, and what is because I think MLS should be able to sell for more than they do normally sell. So what the clubs come to MLS very often with perception of for 1 or 2 million we can get anybody. So we got this very early on for Ajamang, even in a previous summer or in a January 2025, and we literally laughed like, oh wow, great, good luck, keep trying. Once the kind of few clubs started, once we started kind of seeing the interest, and a few clubs started being interested, and then obviously he started playing and scoring goals for US national team, which was great, and Maurizio and his team liked him. Then for us was like, okay, now we now need to get the best possible deal for the club, but while on the other hand replacing it with a player that will bring the same or even better. So that's the only player that we considered selling, moving. Malanda was never considered. The only deal that I said to the few clubs was to buy him and loan him back to us, so to make sure the player is happy, in a happy place, because he knows that his future is secured in a very big contract, long, and then we don't lose him, because we can't replace Malanda, not in summer, not in this kind of summer window where we have a last 10 games of the season. So Middlesbrough was the only one who wanted to do it. All other clubs wanted to take him straight away, and we said no. We had more lucrative offers. We had bigger clubs than Middlesbrough potentially, although Middlesbrough is very historic, traditional club, and that we already had a bit of experience because we sold him Riley McGree, who actually never even played for us, but he was now a player. So Middlesbrough is a good customer, you know.
Yeah.
They buy well from us and sell well to Atlanta.
It's the new triangle. It's the trade.
Yeah, it's a south triangle. Yeah.
There's a lot of history in there that we don't need to get into, but I do want to ask you, because you brought
I might have to buy a drink to Chris Henderson for this comment if he ever hears me.
I'm sure Chris is listening. Chris is one of the best. You mentioned Idan Toklamati, and it feels like have a very specific view of the U22 initiative rule and how you want to use it in conjunction with how you see your second team. And it's not wholly unique, but it feels like you are the club that is most focused in how you go about it, bringing these players in, starting them at Crown Legacy, and then moving them through. Talk me through the process of how you've come to that decision of use, because, we do preseason and it's here's DP signing, here's U22 initiative signing. This is the way these teams are going to jump. And a lot of them struggle and fail. And then you have these examples of players that you've slowly pushed through, but has spent big money on to bring them into the club.
To be honest, first of all, the US U22 initiative, I think it's a great idea, but it needs to be maybe readjusting a little bit, because if you go and buy $4-5 million player, you cannot give him $600,000, $700,000 salary, because they're not going to come for that salary. If you have $5 million player, you want more money. That's number one thing. So we need to readjusting a little bit so we can be competitive on the markets for those players. Second thing is I think we done really well, especially Malanda was under 22 initially signing, that we then buy him down, move him. Vargas is under 22 still. Toklamati under 22. Nikola Petko is 22. It didn't really work out for him. Didn't get much chance to play. Also interesting talent, but we'll see what happens there. And then we basically, even for the Vargas and the Malanda, if we are club right now, we will put them 6 months through the B team. But obviously, year 1 or year 2, we have not developed enough. We have enough players to afford ourselves to put Adilson Malanda into the B team for 6 months. We didn't have anybody else, so he goes straight to the first team. So in that sense, he was great. Obviously, maybe we suffered a little bit on a results front, because Malanda 3 years ago and Malanda today is not the same player. It's totally different. So obviously, he was developed and had 100 games in MLS, and is now ready to go on next. So we have a bunch of young players in a MLS Next Pro. And this is why we always looking very carefully who we bring as a coach. So we brought Gary Dickers from Brighton B, because we think Brighton is one of the smartest club in Europe, and the way they use the youth and young players, and they play young players as well. Previously, we had Jose Tavares from Porto, again another very smart club that use the youth players, and then is very active on the markets. So, and then we give them a chance to kind of adapt, learn English, get to used to on a tough way of traveling, like old MLS. So commercial traveling, waiting for the baggage, cancellation of the flights, sleepless nights, everything else. It's not a bad thing for these young players to experience before getting on a Boeing 737 and lying and sleeping entire 2 hours flight, So, And also, obviously, that helps them with playing in a various conditions, and then training with the first team. Intensity of the first team and the B team is never the same, and so I think this is the perfect pathway for us. And then we already now have a Baye Coulibaly. You guys, I don't know if you've seen it. He made a couple of subs. Yeah. 19 years old Mali midfielder that we think is going to be a great addition coming into the future. Archie Goodwin would probably be the same, but Archie Goodwin, we needed him desperately because we needed another striker behind that Oklomati, so we put him straight into first team. Otherwise, he would be the same. He's a 20 years old Australian, golden boot of Australia. It's very interesting talent. Then we have a couple of wingers. One, 18 years old Rodolfo Aloko, who plays for Benin national team. They almost qualified for the World Cup, and he's only 18, play for the senior national team. And Emmanuel Uchegbu, 20 years old, Nigerian winger. So that's the strategy. That what we're doing. We're trying to build all these young players into the first team players until we can confidently say that our academy is ready to actually produce our own players. Because don't forget, our academy started 5 years ago, but first year was COVID. It wasn't easy to navigate anything. So it's still a little bit baby academy, and we're still making this baby toddler steps in order to produce the first couple of first team players via the academy route.
I want to go back to the first team and going quickly on more immediately when we have some more big picture stuff we want to talk to you about. But you got the first round series coming up, and in that first game, unfortunately, there will be no Wilfred Zaha, who got 2 yellow cards in the final game of the season, to be suspended. I guess just kind of any thoughts on his reaction as that second yellow happened off the ball, and I guess any thoughts on how often he's been fouled and if referees are protecting him enough.
Well, look, he's the highest foul player in MLS. Behind him, far away behind him, far below behind him is the Carlos Gil. So it just shows that we potentially might have to protect a little bit better our main players, because this is why the fans come. The fans come to watch the product and to watch our best players on the pitch and not being kicked. And in that specific game against Philly, the first 30 seconds he was kicked, and then he kept being kicked, and eventually the people actually react. I mean, I know he shouldn't do it, what he has done, but he should never got the first yellow card. First yellow card was nothing to do with him. He was actually trying to jump in between the two players who had a fight, and he got the yellow card because he was explaining and complaining to the referee. So I think he was handled not greatly by the officials. I think he was a cheap first yellow. I think he was second yellow. Yeah, it was fair. And red card, when you lose one player for one game, you have to adjust. We'll have other players. Liel Abada will come off the bench potentially, and we'll be fine. Zaha will be back, and unfortunately, I think he has 125 fouls against him in the league. Carlos Gil has 102, and it's. I just think the league and the referees should do a little bit more.
Are you talking to them about this throughout the season? Like what as a club can you do?
I'm talking a lot with them. And every time they say that they're hearing us, and every time they say the same thing. But if you look at in the first half, there are probably at least 5 fouls, clear fouls on Zaha. They were not even called. Because Zaha is a specific player. He's a technical player. He wants the ball in the feet. He doesn't want to fight. He wants to control the ball. But if someone hits you in a leg, or he pushes you from the back, then you cannot control the ball. You go down or whatever. So it's just a very simple. Yeah, I'm all for the kind of tougher football or soccer, and then I'm more aligned. But has to be a consistency. If you don't call certain fouls on Zaha, then you call them, or you don't call them across the pitch. So I think he was unfortunate. We would miss him, of course. He's a X factor. He's a very unique player for us. I think he's done really well, considering that he wasn't fit and he's gone through the birth of his child, and it took him again. Zaha is another example. It took him 3-4 months to get used to it on a demands of the MLS. So yeah, it is what it is. I think we are still playing in a Bank of America stadium. I think we still have a good team, and we'll hopefully have a great crowd to support us and try to win.
On a lighter note with Zaha, now that you've been with him pretty much every day for the whole year, are there any fun stories about him that kind of come to mind that describe him pretty well? Because I know that he's got a really fun and really big personality. Obviously, his technique and quality, we've all seen it. But has there been any fun stories from like being within the building with Zaha day in and day out?
There's a lot of fun stories within. But look, Zaha is a often I believe what you see on a pitch is not really Zaha. Quite opposite is the Zaha on the pitch. He's actually very humble and very good person. He has a number of charities he's supporting. He's willing to help anybody. He really is very unique in that sense. While you see a superstar in one hand, on the other hand you see a very normal guy who goes around and says, "Look, I'm here if you need me." The boys like him. Obviously, we all like him. He's great in a changing room. He's obviously a little bit unique. He is a superstar in that sense. So he might have a demand or two, or say something that other boys might say, "Okay, that's interesting. It didn't come before from anybody else." But that's what you get from these guys, But he wants to win. He has a huge desire to win. He demands very high level performance from everybody, including himself. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy after the game, and he's still not happy. I saw him a little earlier in a canteen after the training, and he's still looking a little moody about that. And I asked him, "How are you?" And he said to me, "Yeah, I'm okay, but I'm kind of still pissed off with what happened."
He's been a huge part of the team, and obviously will be when he gets back. He is not a permanent member of the team. What is sort of the work now in terms of his future with Charlotte and how you talk about it and what the plan is?
Yeah, he's our player until the June 30th, I believe, and we would probably start thinking, discussing something if we decide so in beginning of the season. I don't think it will happen during the playoffs. I don't want to talk contracts during the playoffs with all the players of that level. But I think after the playoff finishes, and hopefully that will happen in December, then I'm willing to sit down with him and his team and discuss. I think he's done really good for us. I think he likes it here. I think he's in a happy place. His family loves Charlotte. He's he has a young family, so I think this kind of players are exactly what this club needs. The players who are happy and the families like being here. He's not a party boy at all. He's a very, very much family oriented and enjoys being in Charlotte. Going around and he really is in a happy place right now. And as you can see that on a pitch.
I agreed. You used to be, before you got to Charlotte, sitting on the other end of that table where you'd be representing a player and working it from that angle. So in your previous world of being an agent, you had a ton of big time players, Branislav Ivanovic, Modric, all these guys that we can name going down the list. And then you came to Charlotte and you've been a sporting director. So what was that transition like for you? And what are the challenges or the advantages that you felt going from, again, now that you've been doing this job, for 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, it's to be honest. Recently, someone asked me, what is more difficult, being an agent or being a sport executive, a sporting director or GM? And there's not even comparison. Being GM is so much more difficult. In terms of, first of all, being an agent, you come at 5th of September, 6th, and then you can go on a holiday to Greek island for about a month. It's like you can go to Mykonos to kind of catch the last of the parties, or Ibiza. Unfortunately, I don't think I can afford to kind of leave this place and then go to Mykonos for 3 weeks in September. So that's one thing, and it's a different narrative, different. You work, you come 8 o'clock in the morning and you all day kind of have meetings and trying to kind of make the team better, but also the whole organization better. You are involved in so many different levels. Luckily for me, before being an agent, I had a spell in a corporate world, in a financial markets in London. So that helped me kind of translate into this role. I think this role is more demanding. Being agent is also potentially can be way more lucrative depending on the player you have. So that's another thing but I actually quite enjoying being here and building something from zero, and that's the catch. That's the carrot for me, and always was and always will be. And I would never regret moving from one side to another, from dark side, as they will say, to the side. I just think it's a more seeing what we built, seeing the expansion and the progress of the Charlotte FC, and every year we getting better, and every year getting better results, and more points, more wins, more this, more that. So that's, when we build a strategy for us, how are we going to go with Charlotte FC? We said we don't want to be yo-yo club. We want to be a club that gets better and better and better, and then we want to be clubs similar to Seattle Sounders and similar clubs who are always there. You know that they're going to be in playoffs. You just don't know whether they're going to be sixth or second or first. But they will be in playoffs, and they will be difficult to beat in playoffs, and they might go all the way and win it. So that's the aim. And we're not yet there, but we're not far off.
Going into the playoffs as the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, it was a monster Eastern Conference this year. Before we let you go and get ready for the games coming up and hang out in Charlotte and feel all the energy, we want to talk big picture about the league because, as you said, you have a ton of experience across the global game and now working in this role for a number of years. There are some hot button topics for people thinking about: how does MLS take advantage of the World Cup? How does MLS grow? How does the league step forward? Schedule change is a big conversation. Roster rule changes as well. When you're in these conversations or on your own thinking about this, or people maybe reach out from outside the league, what are the big steps you'd like to see, and what sort of do you think are the pressing issues?
I think that some steps have already been taken, and there are a lot of discussions and negotiations and talks, and I've luckily been involved in most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. And I think league is doing some really smart things. I think we need to speed up a little bit. In my opinion, we need to move from the second or third gear to fifth or sixth. We need to be a little bit more decisive. We need to schedule change is going to be massive. I think the salary cap needs to change. I'm not saying we need to add tons of money. I don't think I like salary cap as an idea. But I think we need to increase it. We need to change the under-22 initiatives so we basically can compete with the best possible players in Latin America, for example. So if you go and pay 10 million, he's not going to play for 600,000. No chance. So what happens? You either have to cheat, if you like, somehow find out a way to kind of bring that player that is 10 million and then officially present that he's on 600, 700, or much better, in my opinion, just give us the ceiling of 1.5 million. And then we just go in and compete. I think we need to change a little bit how the DP rules work, maybe add another DP or semi-DP. One of my ideas was always like, why don't we have a goalkeeping DP? Because, nobody wants to bring a goalkeeping DP because it's a one position. There's a one player who plays the whole season. If you have a midfielder, then there's a 6 you have. You have a striker, you have a 3, you have a 5 wingers. But the goalkeepers, you have 2. And if you spend out of 3 spots on a goalkeeper, then you weakening the team. So why don't we have a specific category for the goalkeepers so we can go and get the really good goalkeepers on a world market? That will improve the product, improve the league. So those kind of little things we can do a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and a little bit more kind of decisive, and spend a little bit more money on building the roster and improving the product. And the more, because I think the league is past the phase where you bring we have now Son, and everyone is talking about Son, Thomas Moore, and they're improving the league, great. But I think that they're not necessarily winning every single game when they're in a team. And 15 years ago, if you have a DP, he scores 2-3 goals a game. Not anymore. Now you have a DP like Zaha who struggles for 3 months. So you have a DPs in other clubs. You know them, I don't need to mention them, who are struggling big time. Or it takes time for them to kind of start working. So I think that these are the changes that the league needs to do. And I think the time the time is kind of ticking slowly because we have a Messi for almost 2.5 seasons now, and not much has been changed. So I think we have a unique moment now with the World Cup. Just after the Club World Cup, you have World Cup, Messi still in the league, ambitious club. You mentioned the Eastern Conference. Look at ambition in the Eastern Conference. Look at the clubs you're competing against. We have one New York Red Bull, part of Red Bull, massive, big organization, not even qualifying for the playoffs. So it's a really competitive league right now, and I think the changes needs to come sooner rather than later.
We are excited to watch the playoffs. We are excited for Charlotte. We're excited to watch Pepas in the crowd in a playoff atmosphere. It's been one of the most fun when I'm there. It's fun from afar. We'd love to see an MLS Cup in downtown Charlotte, and me and Tom can go to the pub before and walk over to the stadium and everything like it. So good luck the rest of the way. Appreciate you taking the time. And Zoran, postseason, we'll have you on again, and we could dig into some of these salary cap conversations.
Thank you, and I'm paying for drinks if you're in the final, so don't worry. You don't need to bring the wallets, guys.
Well, then you don't need any voodoo because you've got all the bad juju right here between the two of us.
Thank you for the time. All the best.
All right, thank you.
Man, Zoran.